Thank you, Alain. For the record, Klaus Stoll. For those who are in the room and not familiar with the context, allow me to give you 2 minutes of the context and the thinking behind the things I'm going to talk about. Basically, as a constituency, NPOC has to serve 2 masters. One is the stable DMS, and the other one is the people we are supposed to represent, the not-for-profit sector. And I think so we have to look for the policies and the areas which basically are in the interest of the DNS and the non-profit sector. And also, as a new constituency, we have to change. We spent, I think, under the very capable leadership of Alain, he got us through that second phase of NPOC. And we are at a point now where we have to deliver our own policies. If we just go to ICANN meetings and say, okay, we support the policy making process, but we don't make policies, then there's something wrong. On the other hand, I fully acknowledge we weren't that capable till about 6 months ago to develop our own policies. And what I said, where are the policies contributions NPOC really can make? And I think the policy contributions NPOC really can make are in 2 areas. One of them is quite simply in capacity building. On internet governance capacity building, and one of my frustrations with internet governance is that we are living in internet governance in a country where 1% of the population is basically governing 99% of the rest, and 98 of the 99% don't even know that internet governance exists. And I think in aid to really support internet governance on all levels, that include the IGF and the business and so on, we need to do something which is quite simply to create a huge pool, a pool of the general public, the 99% in the basics of internet governance. Because what's happening, and we've seen it in Dubai, and I'm sorry when I'm talking a little bit black and white, but the point is some of the governments made proposals because they knew they would get away with it because the people they were supposed to represent didn't even know what they were talking about. And that reminds me a little bit of a very unfortunate past in my own country when somebody was standing up and said, do you want the total war? And the rest was screaming yes, and because they didn't know what was going on. And that's the same thing here. Okay, in concrete terms, what we need to try to do is to find mechanisms how we really can involve and inform the general public about internet governance. And we need to do that in a way that we demonstrate first to the general public what's the need, what is it. We can't say to anybody on the street, okay, internet governance is important if it's not relevant. So we started together with Global Knowledge Partnership and a lot of people in NPOC something called I-Inform. And I-Inform is an alliance where we just simply bring together those people who are interested in creating internet governance on a general public level and sit together and start doing things to get the message out. And to give you a concrete example, for example, one of the ideas is to, and at the moment we are talking only to 2 organizations, Al Jazeera and the BBC, about getting a 6-part series about internet governance on television and, for example, BBC World. And we have that model of the Doha Foundation, we did that since years, and it's extremely successful. So why shouldn't we take a good model and make it happen? In concrete terms, otherwise I speak too long, what will happen is on the 7th and 8th of May there is an inaugural meeting of the IINFORM Alliance in The Hague, in the Netherlands, in the offices of IICD. And all we're going to do there is just simply plan and how do we get the thing together. And just one other important thing is IINFORM won't be a new organization. It will be a mechanism, a tool, not an organization. After The Hague, the week after, we have a session at the Business Forum 2013, and we've got a very exciting development that we might be able to, in the autumn, to get a largish meeting conference together, probably in Africa. We are at the moment talking with sponsorships and people who we can partner this to get that going, and watch the space and watch the NPOC webpage. You will see some very interesting developments. The second point is about creating GTLDs in developing countries. ICANN has a need, and that need is it needs more GTLDs in developing countries. The not-for-profit sector has a need, and that need is we need more not-for-profits using the tool GTLD for themselves. So that's another policy area where NPOC should and can become very active. The news is, and I apologize for those who it only basically expired this morning. The idea is very simple. We played around with the idea. We need, in order to create new GTLD in developing countries, you need to have a business plan, and you need a motivation to do it. The reason why there are only 26 applications, I think, from Africa is because it wasn't sustainable, the money wasn't there. So, what NPOC has with its development background is actually the business plan, because we are using sustainability models based on community building. It's not about selling a GTLD and making your money out of it, it's about the community which the GTLD supports and so on and so on. So based on that one, the idea is to, for example, in Africa, to take 100 entrepreneurs, put them in a room for 3 days, and talk about the significance and what GTLD is and how it works, and also talk about sustainable business plan which will allow them to make that happen. And just 1 minute more.
Yeah, there's a visit that I hadn't had a chance to tell you about, so yeah, but a minute is great.
Okay,
I know I'm cutting you short, but
okay, but I know what's coming. So basically, the plan is now in the second week of October that we're trying to get something going in Addis on that lines of 100 people and see what's coming out. And just to close the whole thing is, what I'm just telling you now is open. Please get involved. If you know somebody, if yourself you want to get involved and so on, please tell me. You are more than invited, or you know somebody who should get involved. For example, come to the Hague meeting or join the movement. That's all.